Hello there, my name's James Schweda. My friends call me Weather. Today we're going to talk about chord construction. Chords can be thought of as assembled pieces of scales. And in Western music, the scale that everything is assembled from is the major diatonic scale. It sounds like... It's the familiar sound of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Sorry about singing. Now, in the key of C, the notes that comprise the scale are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, they can also be thought of as the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, this set of notes is in a regular set of intervals or distances that go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And that's what our scale is comprised of. If you take that same pattern and apply it to any starting note, you get that starting note's major scale. So right now we're in the key of C because we start on the C note. If we were to, example, start on the D note and play do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, we are now playing a D scale, a D major diatonic scale, and every one of the notes is still in the key. So today we're going to assemble different combinations of those notes into the most basic of chords called triads. A triad is a three-note chord. The first rule of triads is that they're all based off some variation of the 1, the 3, and the 5 of your major scale. Now we take the 1, the 3, and the 5, and we apply these other rules to them. The rules are simple, and you can use these rules to build all chords. So for a major chord, anything that's called major is forbidden to have any notes outside of the major scale. So if you mix that with the first rule of triads, that it must be made out of some combination of 1, 3, and 5 of your major scale, we are left with 1, 3, and 5. So your major triad is made of 1, 3, and 5. What's that sound like when we're starting from C? It sounds like a C chord because it is a C chord. If we were to disassemble this chord right here, we would notice that all of the notes that make up this chord are just the 1, the 3, and the 5 of the C major scale, repeated over and over again. The next type of chord that is very common and a triad is called the minor chord. A minor chord is no less important than a major chord. All it means is that it's applying the rule for a minor chord to it. A minor chord always has a flattened third scale step included. So we take our major chord, or our major notes, our 1, 3, and 5, and we flatten the third scale step. Now to flatten a note means to bring it down in pitch 1/2 step or semitone. On the guitar, that means going 1 fret closer to the headstock. So our chord that was made out of these 3 notes for a major scale are now made out of 1, flat 3, 5. Now what's that sound like when we assemble them together into the chord? Now, I've had a student tell me before that nothing bad can happen when you're playing a major chord. It's happy all the time. But when you start playing a minor chord, bad things can happen while you're playing a minor chord. They added a little more tension to your song. Major chord, minor chord. Now, the next most common triad is called a diminished chord. Now, a diminished chord has both a flattened third scale step and a flattened fifth scale step. So let's take our major triad, flatten the third scale step, and flatten the fifth scale step. That doesn't sound very nice, does it? When we assemble these things together, we get, which is a funky chord, but there's a lot of tension involved. What's tension? Tension is this desire for your ear to want you to resolve the chord. Resolution is when it gets all happy again. So tension, resolution. So a diminished chord has a lot of tension. So we have our major chord, our minor triad, and our diminished triad. Now those are the three primary triads. But there are also a couple other things that are commonly done. They're called suspended chords. Now a suspended chord, or a sus chord, replaces the third scale step with either the 2 or the 4. So in a sus2 chord, the notes that would assemble to make the chord are the 1, 2, and the 5. It has a very open and dreamy chord. I've been told this is the dreamy chord, and he might be right. It's also very unresolved, but very open. Now the 1, the 4, and the 5 put together, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, makes a sus4 chord. Now a sus4 chord also has that kind of spacey non-resolution to it. You'll often see these chords when used with a D chord. You're playing your D, and you have a sus4, regular D, and a sus2. Together, they make something that's a standard ornament that you'll find in many, many songs. I hear free falling when I hear this. But you'll see it in many, many other situations. So let's recap which chords we have. We have a major chord made out of the 1, the 3, and the 5 of your major scale. We have a minor chord made out of the 1, the flat 3, and the 5 of your major chord. You have a diminished chord, which is the 1, the flat 3, and the flat 5. You have a sus2, which is the 1, the 2, and the 5. And you have the sus4, which is the sus4, 1, 4, and 5 of your major scale. With this formula, you can build a chord for each one of your 12 scale steps, or your chromatic scale steps. So you can create any triad you want using this formula, and if you know where the notes are on the fretboard, you can build them anywhere you want along the fretboard. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a good day.